They do make it entertaining, don't they? Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Phightins Phinal here on the Edge of Philly Sports. With your boy Matty B in the seat again tonight. So 7-6 is the final down there in South Philly. The Phillies fall in 10 innings yet again to the Atlanta Braves, all but pretty much ending any possibilities of winning the NL East if there was. For you hardcore holder outers like myself, who was kind of keying up this series as a potential last ditch effort to make a run at the division, those days are pretty much over. As the Phillies just can't seem to find enough to get over that hump. Not a good offensive or pitching performance early on by the team. But they battled their butts off, man. Down 6-1, they came all the way back. Bryson Stott, Bryce Harper. There's multiple storylines that we're going to get into here for this game. Found themselves in a position in that vaunted ninth inning where they tied it, still with an opportunity with runners on first and second and nobody out. But they're unable to get that game-winning run, and then they fall in extra innings. The bullpen once again comes in, and I know in the broadcast, McCarthy had mentioned that the bullpen was rolling. I disagree. I think the bullpen is this team's Achilles heel right now. And tonight it was once again on display as Craig Kimbrell unable to get out of that 10th inning without giving up the go-ahead run and the winning run as the Phillies fall tonight 7-6. Now they've lost 2 out of the first 3 games of this series. Tomorrow they'll finish things up down there. But a disheartening yet exciting yet frustrating game all rolled up into one for the Phillies down there in South Philadelphia. Let's head over to Mr. and Mrs. Box Score as we want to kind of wrap this thing up, but there's a lot to talk about. For the Braves, 7 runs on 10 hits, no errors. Phillies, 6 runs on 12 hits and no errors. The scoring in this one, the Phillies did get things rocking and rolling early on. Nick Castellanos, good to see this. A home run to deep right center in the second inning, making it 1-1. But then Zach Wheeler, and we'll get in. I'm going to talk a little bit about Zach Wheeler. Matt Olson would homer in the top of the 4th to tie things up at 1. But other than that, from the 1st to the 5th inning, or I should say from the 1st to the 4th inning, that was the only blip on the Zach Wheeler radar. But then in the 5th inning, it all came apart. It all freaking came apart. Ronald Acuna would homer a 2-run shot to make it 3-1. Then Ozuna would follow that up, a 3-run jack to make it 6-1. That's all she wrote for Zach Wheeler. Once again, a Philly starting pitcher can't find themselves out of the middle innings. A theme of the 2023 season. And Zach Wheeler has not been, he's been pretty stalwart. He's been pretty solid. And tonight, just again, he kind of fell into the Aaron Nola middle inning bugaboo. Gives up the big time 5th inning. The Braves scored 5 in that inning to take the 6-1 lead, but the Phillies were not done. No, they were not. Trey Turner, man, what can you say about Trey Turner? You can talk about the standing ovation and all that. I have not personally been down on Trey Turner all season. I've been concerned. I definitely have always said that I want him here. I know he was going to turn it around. I'm glad to see him do it this year rather than next. But Trey Turner would get the Phillies back in this thing in the 7th inning when he knocked in Johan Rojas to make it 6-2. And then Bryce Harper in the 8th with a solo shot, making it 6-3. Bryson Stott in the 8th inning as well, a 2-run shot. He came up as a pinch hitter to make it 6-5. Phillies are back into this thing. And then the big shot heard round the world, or at least heard round South Philadelphia, in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Trey Turner solo jack to make it 6-6. But as I mentioned, Craig Kimbrell unable to come and kind of hammer it down in the 10th inning as Rosario would knock in Wall, and that would be the game-winning run for the Braves. 7-6 is your final. For the pitching, as I mentioned, Max Fried for the Braves, 5 innings solidly, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and he gave up the 1 homer. Tonkin, Jimenez, Minter, Iglesias, and Hand. That's right, Brad Hand gets to save his first of the year. For the Phillies, Zach Wheeler pitched a solid 1 through 4, and then it all fell apart in the 5th inning. He lasted 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he gave up 3 home runs. That's the big number right there, folks. You can't give up 3 home runs. Dominguez, Marte, Alvarado, and they all pitched fairly well. I'll give credit where credit's due. but I'm still not feeling the confidence when it comes to this bullpen. And Craig Kimbrell comes on in the 10th and chokes it out, giving up the game-winning run. He gets saddled with the loss for the Phillies. And Iglesias, he actually gets the win tonight for the Braves. But there you have it. Some of the other offensive numbers. Let's talk about some players. I'm going to go right into because I can't help myself, man. He's right there at the top of the friggin' lineup. On the box score, he's right there. Kyle Mendoza line Schwarber. And I got to give him credit, man. He's raised up that average. It's up to 199 now. He might have been over 200 at some point, but it's back down to 199. 0 for 4 tonight with a walk and 4 strikeouts. To contrast that with Ronald Acuna Jr., who is the Braves leadoff hitter, Acuna was 1 for 5 with a run, 2 RBIs, another monstrous home run, and a strikeout. Acuna's batting 333 in that leadoff spot, and Acuna's going to win the NL MVP. And Kyle Schwarber's batting 199. I think Kyle Schwarber needs to start taking notes because that's what a leadoff. If you're going to have a power hitter in your leadoff spot, it's Ronald Acuna. That's who you want to strive to be, not Kyle Schwarber. And I would definitely understand if we had Ronald Acuna Jr. on this team, we batted him leadoff. Go ahead all day long, Topper. Bat him leadoff. But other than that, get this fool, Kyle Schwarber, out of the leadoff hole. Trey Turner, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs. He did score a run. He had the home run, and he struck out once. Alec Bohm, 1 for 4 with a walk. Bryce Harper, 2 for 3, a run. By the way, the second of those 2 hits was his 1500th of his career. Congratulations, Mr. Bryce Harper. He had the RBI, a home run. He also walked twice. Nick Castellanos, 2 for 5. Bryson stopped the big home run, pinch hit variety, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And Johan Rojas had a pretty steady night, 2 for 4 for him as well. Other offensive numbers for the Phillies. They grounded into 2 more double plays, grounded into 2 more double plays tonight. They left 10 runners on, and they were a putrid 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. That ain't how you do it, folks. That is certainly not how you're going to win a World Series by leaving 14 runners or 13 runners in scoring position and not able to get them home. Yeah, you've heard it here religiously from me, and I'm going to update you on this stat because God knows it jumped out at me too. 322 for 1,220 on the season with runners in scoring position for a batting average of about 260, 104. The other stat that jumped out at me is the strikeouts. Phillies struck out 13 more times tonight. Their total now for the season as a team is over 1,300. 1,307 to be precise. The Phillies have struck out that many times this year. That average is at 9 versus 1,290 hits. So the Phillies are striking out more than they're hitting, which this is this new era of baseball. I will never understand that. For the weekend or for the 3 games so far this season, during this series, the Phillies have struck out 7-0, 1, 2, 3, 40 times. 40 times in 3 games. The Phillies have struck out in this series. Again, if you're trying to win a World Series, if you're trying to win a pennant, if you're trying to win a division, and the team that you're battling, you struck out 40 times over the last 3 games or first 3 games of a series, you're not going to do it, or it's going to be very, very hard. But that's exactly what the Phillies are consistently digging themselves into when it comes to these damn strikeouts. 40 times so far this series. Just amazing. Amazingly abysmal, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Walter checking in. Walter, how you doing? Welcome back. Phillies come back, but Brad Hand closes the door. You don't hear that too many. You don't hear that too often these days, right, Walter? Brad Hand closing the door. Did Brad Hand close the door to the Phillies close the door on their own hand? You see what I did there, Walter? I kind of turned that around, but I got your point. I'm not quite to give Brad Hand the credit for kind of nailing it down. The Phillies kind of walked him into it. I go back to that ninth inning. That ninth inning, after tying it, they get the next 2 runners on with nobody out, mind you, and they're unable to kind of push over that game-winning run. That kind of lends into that 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. I'm sorry. You call me a non-homer, you call me a non-Phillies fan all you want, but you're not going to do much You can't. These are the moments that's the moment right there, especially against a division rival. They got to find a way to get that run in. They couldn't. It's been a story all season long with this team. The inconsistencies with runners on base, the inconsistencies with runners in scoring position for this team. So I'm going to go to that. Yeah, it was Herculean that they came back from 6-1. They definitely showed no quit, but at the end of the day, they lost because they couldn't do the fundamental things by getting a runner in with runners on first and second with nobody out in the ninth. So that to me is the story of tonight. It really is. That for me is not pinch running Sosa for Bowman. Yeah, a couple things tonight, Steven, that had me scratching my head, and that is definitely one of them. And then the wholesale changes, the pinch hitting for Pache, and then the pinch hitting for Sosa at one point as well. Why are we why are these guys playing? I mean, it's mid-September, right, Steven? I'm checking my watch again. It's mid-September. There will if you don't start winning some of these games, if you don't start kind of making some headway in the standings, there won't be a tomorrow. So why are we worried about that at this particular point? You got to put the best lineup out there, the best contributors. Sosa's a bench player. Pache is a bench player. He's been a contributor, but he's got hurt. So you got to go with what works. And I'm confused by some of the lineup choices as well. Some of the decisions in game have been just I've been confused by Rob Thompson for a while now when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, Walter, it's coming, but the Phillies lose tomorrow. The Braves clinch the division. Walter, I said this at the top of the show. I was one of the holdouts, man. I was looking at this series. As a matter of fact, I was eyeing this thing up since June as an opportunity potentially for the Phillies to make a last ditch effort to capture the NL East or to make a run to at least get back into the NL East. And obviously, they did not handle their business against other opponents. And obviously, tonight and in this series so far have not consistently handled their business. So the division hangs in the balance tomorrow. And how ironic or poetic would it be for the Phillies or for the Braves to clinch the NL East at the bank tomorrow? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what would that be like? Obviously, don't want to see that. But yeah, if there's any holdouts out there who think the Phillies have a shot at the NL East, you're a better man than me because I'm off the train, man. I jumped off, and I like to believe I'm one of the last, if not the last, to get off that train. So yeah. I didn't get pinch hitting March for Pache against a tough left-hand pitcher. I don't know. You can screw up too, but so, yeah. We can talk. We can talk that as well. Again, it goes into that situation where you got to just find a way to get that run in. You just got to find a way to get a run in there. It's not hard. It really isn't. We celebrate on Houston's field. It's got us nothing in the end. I just care about sealing the top wild card. Steven, here's the thing. Right now, the Phillies, and they've had their September issues over the last few seasons, not just last season, but don't forget, it's been a trend over the last like 5 seasons. So far now in September, they're 5-7. We had this problem last year. We had this problem last year with kind of limping into the playoffs. We needed some help from the Brewers as the wheels came off of them last year in order for us to get in. At this point, honestly, I don't care first, second, third wild card. It doesn't really matter to me. We just got to get a playoff spot. It does. I'm not really bartering for home field advantage at this point. It would be nice, obviously, for that 10th man aspect at the bank, but at this point, Steven, just get me in. 5-7, or was it 5? Did I say 5-7 or 5-8 in September? 5-7 in September as their September struggles continue. And again, this goes beyond 2023 and 22. I mean, we were talking Gabe Kapler. When did it start? 18 when they fell apart. So September's not been a kind month for this team. They got to keep it together because the teams that are chasing them, they're not going away. The Cubs are not going away. The Reds ain't going away. The Marlins ain't going away. So the Phillies got to keep churning them out, and they need wins like this. They need to win these games, man. Walter Burkhart chimes in. Rob, he's fired, not hunting JT. I don't want to get into that. Listen, there's some people on this network, Walter, that if you say that, they're going to look at you like you got three heads. Because Rob Thompson apparently has done an amazing job with this ball club, even though he hasn't really done anything. Yeah, they haven't won anything. Optically speaking, I just don't think it looks good to fire your manager to fire managers in 2 straight seasons. Dave Dombrowski obviously is not 100% on the Rob Thompson train. You only gave him a 2-year deal, and that's an issue that's going to kind of crop up here in a few months when we enter 2024 with a lame duck manager, because Rob Thompson will have 1 year left on his contract. So, I'm not saying that it deserves to be done. I'm not all in on Rob Thompson. I haven't been, and I wasn't last year, and I certainly he hasn't shown me consistently enough this season that he really is the man for this job. But again, you got to be careful here on the edge of Philly sports. There's certain individuals that really don't like critical talk about Rob Thompson. I'm not one of them. You can bring all that fire here, open door anytime you want, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful. There's certain people on this network that don't like you talking about Rob Thompson or Howie Roseman, at that matter. You'll get blackballed and ostracized and sent to the island of misfit toys with me. So, but bring it here anytime you want. Anytime you want. Being healthy and stabilizing the pen, and I'm fine. Stabilize the pen. How are we going to do that, Steven? Are we bringing somebody else here? The trade deadline's gone. How are we going to bring and stabilize the pen? That is my number one concern. The offense is what it is, averaging 9 strikeouts a game, striking out literally more than they're hitting the ball. They hit 4 more home runs tonight, which is obviously awesome. Trey Turner is not going to cover off the ball. I can live with the offense at this point. Right? I've done it now for 2 seasons. I can live with it a little bit longer. And you mentioned stabilizing the pen. That's absolutely priority number one. But where is that stabilization coming from? Is it coming from Lehigh Valley? Is it coming from Clearwater? Is it coming from Reading? Is it coming from Jersey Shore? Where is it coming from? Because I don't see any relief happening. Is it going to turn over on? Are they going to get like kind of like a fire lit underneath them? I don't know, but stabilizing the pen is definitely my number one concern as well. I have a feeling that's going to be a story moving into the postseason, and I hope it's not. I really don't. Congrats to Weston Wilson, most home runs this season for the Iron Pigs, 30. Can he come up or no? He could come up, but then someone's got to go down. And he was up here, but at this point, Walter, let the Pigs have their time. They're going to be battling here. I don't know I don't actually know minor league wise. I think they're in. I don't know if they're in the playoffs, if they're headed to the playoffs. But Weston Wilson, again, offensively, that's not the problem here, Walter. I mean, we score runs pretty well here. We're averaging for the season, we're averaging close to 5 runs a game. Yeah, we're about 5 runs a game. We've scored 713 runs. We're scoring enough runs to compete and win. So we're having problems keeping the runs off the board. And Weston Wilson really can't do nothing there. Would he help with potentially not striking out all the time? Yeah, maybe he would. But offensively, it's not my concern. It's that damn bullpen. What are we going to do with it? Are they breaking down? Is this a prelude to come for the playoffs? That is my concern. That's been a story for this team over the past week and a half now, has been the bullpen's inability to hold it together or to hold it down. So, yeah, it's a great story, but I don't know if necessarily offense is what we're looking for here as we go down the stretch in the playoff push here. Trey Turner, the first player in baseball history with 11 multi-hit and home run games in a 13-game window ever in history of baseball. That's unreal. It is unreal. It's absolutely unreal, and it's a great friggin' story, Steven. I never badmouth Trey Turner on this show because I am a huge Trey Turner guy. I pushed for him all last season. I'm glad they brought him here. It was getting a little frustrating, absolutely. But he's turned it around. For whatever reason, he's done that. It's a great thing to see. And obviously, we're going to have 10 years of it. So, it lends to the narrative of offense is not my number one concern. Would I like to see more consistency with the offense? Absolutely. Would I like them to cut down on them 1,300 friggin' team strikeouts? Absolutely. Would I like a team that doesn't average 9 a game? Absolutely. But right now, we're doing enough offensively to win. We're doing enough offensively to compete. We're not doing enough on the pitching mound right now to win. And it's concerning as we push down to the stretch run of this thing, because these are games that we should have won. We should be up 3 games to none in this series right now, but we've had some problems with the bullpen. And then the series with the Marlins has some problems with the bullpen. We can kind of go back, as I mentioned, over the last 10 days, and it boils down to the daggone bullpen. So we got to get better there. With that being said, let's take a look around Major League Baseball tonight on this Wednesday, and check out some scores around Major League Baseball. And of course, my screen has gone blank, but let me refresh here, and we can get through the scores. But while we wait for the modern technology to kick in, let's take a look at the updated standings in Major League Baseball right now on this Tuesday evening. Everything is the Phillies currently, with their loss tonight, are now 16 games and all but dead in the water when it comes to the NL East. As mentioned, the Braves could clinch tomorrow with a win. Phillies are 79 and 66, way behind the Braves now, as the Braves have pretty much locked things up in the NL East. As far as the one that everybody is concerned about, of course, is the wild card. Phillies are in a game now behind, or a game ahead of the Cubs. Diamondbacks are right there at that number 3 spot. The Giants, Reds, Marlins, all within striking distance of everybody in the wild card push. This thing is far from over, as the Phillies are trying to hang on as we push deeper into this, or as we try to get things locked up. But this thing is definitely not over. As for this series, it will conclude tomorrow at the bank. The Phillies will send Christopher Sanchez, and he'll be opposed by another one of the ace pitchers of this Brave staff in Spencer Strider, a 6:40 start at Citizen Bank Park, as the Phillies will look to try and salvage a split, get that split going against the Braves, which would be good, I guess. I mean, you got to kind of take things to where they are, but so Sanchez and Strider tomorrow, 6:40. Now let's talk scores. Finally got it working. Games that are currently still ongoing: 4-1 Yankees over the Red Sox. They are in the top of the ninth. The Royals are over the White Sox. The White Sox 10-9 in the top of the ninth. Cubs trailing right now, so that's an important game. Phillies could go up. Could be a game and a half if they lose tonight. The Cubs are losing to the Rockies 5-4 in the bottom of the sixth. So head over to your MLB app or whatever you do and check out that game. Games, the Mariners and the Angels, 3-0 Mariners in the fourth, 1-0 Guardians over the Giants at the end of the fourth, 1-0 Dodgers over the Padres at the end of the second. Games that have gone final: the Yankees beat the Red Sox in the first game of that doubleheader today, 3-2. Again, this was a makeup game from yesterday because of the rain. The other makeup game was the White Sox Royals. They played an earlier game as well, 6-2. The White Sox winners as well. 5-2 Cardinals over the Orioles, 5-1 Pirates over the Nationals, 6-5 Reds over Tigers, 6-3 Rangers over Blue Jays. Mets 7-4 winners over the Diamondbacks. Brewers 3-1 over the Marlins. Good news. 3-2 Twins over the Rays, and 6-2 Athletics defeat the Astros to wrap up your scoring wrap up your scores tonight in the Major Leagues. Wow, kind of went blank there. Walter Sisson, Strider got pummeled by the Pirates last start. Not sure if Phillies will do the same. Either am I. That's the problem. But Strider's actually pitched really well against the Phillies. But listen, he's hittable. Don't get me wrong. He's not Smoltz or Glavine or Maddox. He's hittable, but he is also, if he can get locked down, he's very non-hittable. So again, the Phillies have the ability to do it. Will they? Is the big question. And then Steven wants to know, was tonight's home plate umpire a call-up? Did not recognize him. Contrary to popular belief, Steven, we all don't know each other. I don't know. I think he did a good job. I did pretty decent. It's a hard job to do. I'm not sure though. I'll check that for you though. I owe you that answer, Steven. I will get back to you. So 7-6 Phillies losers tonight in 10 innings. They have now lost 2 out of the first 3 games to the Braves. They will conclude the series tomorrow at the bank before having an off day on Thursday to allow the Eagles to play. And then they'll start a interesting road trip that'll take them to St. Louis and Atlanta as well before coming home against the Mets. It's we are at that stage of the season where we can't take any of these games for granted. And the Phillies need to find a way to kind of clamp these things down. They got to find a way to win. Some guy named Al says he went through every emotion as a Phillies fan in an hour. I hear you, Al. It was tough. It was tough, but that's what playoff baseball is all about, right? It had a very playoffy vibe to it. Um, tonight, 20 some thousand, I guess, was the paid attendance. Isn't that like half of what the bank sits? That's interesting. But yeah, I feel you, Al. But God, when they're coming down, when I can't get over, as I said, everyone's gonna kind of pinpoint or maybe like say Wheeler. Wheeler was the problem. Blah blah blah. The home plate umpire was the problem. 6-1, and then you come all the way back. You get to a position in that ninth inning where you tie it, and then you get the next two runners are on with nobody out, and you cannot find a way to get that winning run home. You got to do that. World champion teams, playoff type teams, get that winning run in, and the Phillies couldn't find a way to do that. And 1 for 14 again with runners in scoring position tonight, a stat that has haunted me all season long, and I'm sure will haunt me throughout the rest of the season into the postseason. You cannot leave those opportunities on the field, and the Phillies have done that far too many times in 2023. And tonight it bit them. And but I feel you, Al. Feel you, feel you. And Walter said, "Me too." I think, yeah, me too, Al. Dave Arnold here with a great comeback. Once again, they couldn't finish Mr. Hand with the big 10th inning closeout. Why are we giving credit to Brad Hand? I think we got to give credit to the Phillies for not coming through. But I hear you, Cowboy Dave. We can win tomorrow. I can't see Minter and Glacius being available. Yep, we could win tomorrow. We could also lose 8-0. So, Spencer Strider has that ability too. So we got to wait and see how these things play out. I'm done trying to predict when this team is going to win or if they can win. It's almost it's obviously a pitch to pitch season right now, as the Phillies will try to shut down or get that elusive number 80 win, keep some of that wild card pressure off of them, and maybe obviously hold off on the Braves clinching the NL East on their own field. So should be an interesting afternoon or interesting evening from South Philly. And I will be back with the final tomorrow. So hopefully I come bearing better news tomorrow night than I did tonight. But a great game if you're a baseball fan. If you have just no rooting interest for any of the teams, just like the sport of baseball, it's had everything for you. This is definitely playoff-like baseball. But if you're a Phillies fan, obviously it's a gut puncher. It's almost like waking up in bed with Howie Roseman in the morning. That's how bad it felt for me. So we got to find a way to be better. We got to find a way to close out these games. And the Phillies, until they do that, they're not going to go far. They're not going to go very far. It's concerning. The bullpen is uber concerning me right now. Where are these arms going to be here in 2 weeks when we really need them? But tonight, not a good ending to a very, very, very positive comeback by your fighting Phillies. So tomorrow, again, 6:40 start. Spencer Strider against Christopher Sanchez at the bank. Let's head over here. I always forget this. Don't forget, we got you covered here on the Edge of Philly Sports all week long. Tonight we were doing some Kelly Green Hour, Birds of the Round Table, Chalking Talking, and then me doing the Phightins final tomorrow. There's a draft show. And what is that all about? I think that's football related. Then we got the Philly Press Box Radio, Edge of Philly Sports Live, and then of course me wrapping things up sometime tomorrow evening, the Phightins final, and that's all geared up towards, of course, Thursday, Eagles Vikings home opener. We got you covered throughout that entire game, and I believe I got the post game for that, so that should be fun. So, and everything else that we have here on the EOP network throughout the rest of the week, we got you covered from dusk till dawn. Also with written articles. Head over to the website, check out all the stuff. I put up an article today about Sean Couturier, doing some retrospectives on spotlighting some Flyers players as we get ready for the hockey season. We never sleep here, but I love it. So make sure you're checking out everything that EOP has to offer. And if you want to travel like the pros, don't look no further than Philly Sports Trips. They got you covered. They had you covered up there in Foxborough last week, and they got you covered, I believe, for a home tailgate party Thursday. Head over to Philly Sports Trips to their website and check out all the information, how you can get involved in all that stuff and have some fun. Sherry's tickets, again, sports, concert, theater, Tickets with great prices, no hidden fees. www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10. And the last but certainly not least, our boy PJ down there at Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park in the heart of Delco. Quizzo, music, great times, and memorabilia giveaways. Tell PJ that Matty B, the Phightins Final, and EOP sent you. Oh, geez, he wasn't the last but least. Dave Cherry is certainly last but not least. Workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and criminal law. Dave Cherry, 610-565-0300 or www.cherryinjurylaw.com. Tell Dave also that Matty B, the Phightins Final, and EOP sent you, and he'll take great care of you, folks. That is going to wrap me up. A heartbreaking loss tonight, a concerning loss when it comes to the bullpen, and when it comes to, once again, not being able to find a way to get runners in scoring position. 1 for 14 tonight, and also striking out way too many times. 13 times tonight, 40 times the Phillies have struck out throughout this series so far. Not good positive signs, but the fight is there. They don't give up. We just got to find a way to start doing things more fundamentally better. And that's been the mantra all season. And it's never too late until it's too late. And we're getting to that point now. So another missed opportunity for the Phillies tonight as they fall 7-6 in 10 innings to the Atlanta Braves. Until we talk again tomorrow from here, because I got the call on the final. I will see you guys later, and go Phils.